Located in Western Africa, Senegal is a country rich in history, whose culture has been influenced by colonial occupation and by the caravans which once crossed the desert to the coast. Today, the foreign visitor can enjoy the wealth of culture to be found in this former French colony, and at the same time marvel at its unique landscapes and the warmth of the African people. Senegal has been able to develop and maintain a democratic system which is rarely found in Africa today, one where the country's inhabitants live in relative peace. The freedom of speech and of the press which exists here is widely recognized, and the crime rate is relatively low. In addition, the country's cultural life has been heavily influenced by the European presence and by its first president. In northern Senegal, the Casamance region takes its name from the river which teems with life along the 300 kilometers of its banks. The Casamance's main tributaries are the Diouloulou, whose source is near the Gambian border, the Bolon, and the Soumgourou, which is the largest. This flat, water-covered region is one of the loveliest regions in the whole of West Africa. Compared to some of the northern populations, the people of Casamance are warm and very welcoming. There's a daily one-hour flight from Dakar to Ziguinchor, which, on certain days, continues on to Cape Skiring, where the coast's largest hotel complex is located. The same trip takes 16 hours by boat aboard the Casamance Express. The boat leaves Dakar Friday night and then leaves Ziguinchor the following Sunday afternoon. During the high season, tourists have the option of taking an 8-day cruise from Dakar to Casamance with a stopover on the island of Caraban in the Sini Saloum Delta. This region is often compared to the Camargue region in southern France because of its numerous rivers and ponds which abound with a variety of wildlife. The vast marshes reflect the color of the sky and are reminiscent of the Rhone Delta. The landscape becomes quite different the further one moves inland. Senegal's capital is a melting pot of European and African civilizations. However, France's occupation of Senegal came quite late in the country's history. The Portuguese were the first Europeans to set foot here. They landed near the Almadies headlands, but never established a permanent stronghold here. The Lebus were probably the first inhabitants to set eyes on the Europeans. It's believed that their name comes from the old Greek word meaning black, and that they originally came from ancient black kingdoms somewhere in Egypt, where they would have been in contact with the Greeks. The Lebus were among the first people on the Black African continent to set up a system of government which resembled democracy. Throughout much of their history, these people have been exposed to the incoming floods of foreigners of all races. With its well-sheltered deep-water harbor, Dakar became more important than the island of Gorée from 1850 on. This importance was closely linked to the development of commercial traffic and the use of modern means of communication. In the 1930s, Dakar became one of Africa's most important ports. But a great deal of its colonial charm is being lost. The huge population growth Dakar has seen, from 20,000 inhabitants at the turn of the century to more than 1 million today, has created serious difficulties for the city. The mass exodus of rural inhabitants to the city has only added to the existing problems. The perfect place to begin a tour of the city is the large Independence Square, which was already the center of Dakar when the city was just a small village. Most banks and airline companies have established their offices around this square. Many colonial buildings remain to this day and present quite a contrast with the modern skyscrapers.